Hi, my name is Amanda Williams, and today I'll be presenting on ADTA 5130, how to enhance the detection and prevention of credit card fraud. According to World Payments Report, global non-cash transaction volumes grew at 12% during 2016 to 2017, reaching 539 billion, the highest in the last 2 decades. Debit card transaction volume grew 17%, noticeably in emerging markets. North America continued at 17% in 2017. Digital payments in mature markets are on a rise due to the growing desire for speed and convenience. While this is happening, the act of identity fraud, specifically credit card fraud, is evident. The top 5 types of identity theft in 2018 are credit card fraud, new accounts 40.5%, miscellaneous identity theft 27.1%, tax fraud 12%, mobile phone new accounts 10.3%, credit card fraud new accounts 10%, credit card fraud accounts for 50.5% of identity theft. And this is why I'll be looking at ways in how to enhance credit card fraud prevention and detection. The credit card industry consists of companies primarily providing credit by issuing credit cards. Credit card is in the banking and financial services industry, and that industry is worth $142 billion, recorded in 2019. The growth rate of this industry is 7.8% for the past 3 years. This research paper will focus on the type of identity theft, credit card fraud. As mentioned earlier, credit card fraud accounts for 50% of the top 5 identity theft. The purpose of this research is to analyze how to enhance the detection and prevention of credit card fraud, and this will help mitigate the risk while freeing victims of credit card fraud from this financial burden and protecting others against this crime. This dataset was sourced from Kaggle dataset. The variables we're looking at would be 12, the observation 3076. The variables include merchant ID, transaction date, average account or transaction day, transaction amount is decline, the total number of declines per day, is foreign transaction, is high risk country, daily chargeback average amount, 6 months average chargeback amount, 6 months average chargeback frequency, and is fraudulent. Various statistical analysis techniques will be used to provide insights into the main problem, and the main statistics analysis techniques would be the linear regression and the scattergram. For the results section, I will be looking at the linear regression. Here I have 3 coefficient tables, the first being with the y variable is fraudulent and total number of declines per day. The intercept is 0.0637 and the total number of declines per day is 0.856, which means for every 1 unit increase in total number of declines a day, its fraudulent activities will increase by 0.0856. Although there is a positive relationship, there is not much of an impact. For the second coefficient table, which would be against the y-intercept and is foreign transaction, the coefficient table p-value proves the model to be significant since it's below 0.05. for the intercept of 0.0536. This means that for every one unit increase in each foreign transaction, each fraudulent will increase by 0.40107, which is a greater impact compared to the previous variable. And finally, for the last coefficient table, I ran two other variables, which are the total number of declines per day and each foreign transaction, to see whether I'll get more of an impact. And it turned out that the p-value for this table was 0.44, which proved that it is insignificant. In this area, I'll be talking about the ANOVA tables, and again, I ran 3 different ANOVA tables for the linking previous coefficient tables, and all 3 tables proved significant, which was below the 0.05 level of significance. And finally, we have the regression statistics tables for the previous 3 correlation table and ANOVA tables. For the first, which is linked to the total number of declines a day and the y variable, it shows that the r square is 0.28, which means that the variable total number of declines a day explains 0.28 of the variation, and the dependent variable is fraudulent, which is very minimal. The second table was between each fraudulent transaction and the variable and the y variable, and this also showed a low of 0.23, which means that it only explains 0.23 of the variation in the dependent variable, which is, as I said, it creates no impact on the y variable. And lastly, I did a final regression statistics table, which included the y variable and the total number of declines a day, as well as each foreign transaction. In this regression analysis, the r square is much higher, which explains 0.42 of the variation of the dependent variable. I also ran a scatter diagram, and in this scatter diagram of each fraudulent and total number of declines per day, there is a horizontal line, which means that the input value of x is irrelevant to the output value of y, meaning there is no correlation. However, since the points line up nicely, there is a trend, and it is a good fit. Here, I wanted to show how credit card fraud affects Americans, and this graph shows the effects of experiencing fraudulent attacks. 60% of citizens end up borrowing more money, and 75% was generally inconvenient because of the credit card fraud. And this proves that a high percentage of the population are insecure when it comes to their personal financial security. For the discussion and recommendation sections, after doing this research, I realized that there are a lot of concerns associated with credit card fraud detection, and most stems from the lack of both the literature providing experimental results and real-world data for researchers to perform experiments. And this is due to the sensitivity aspects of the data and also the privacy concerns associated with such financial data. Another concern in credit card fraud detection is overlapping data, and there are genuine transactions being made which may reflect as fraudulent transactions, And in the new era of fraudsters, the need arises for good metrics to evaluate the classifier system. And what I do expect in the future would be to develop the developments in effective algorithms that will deal with the classification problem that we're experiencing right now, and also measures that will be put in place to prevent loss of people's money from the bank account. Thank you very much.